How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another feature match. Here we are in round 2, I believe, from this past week's locals. We have Salamangreat, same Salamangreat player I think you guys have seen for the most part in the past few weeks. And also a zombie player on the right. I don't think we've ever had zombies on the channel, at least not recently, if at all. So it should be a pretty interesting matchup here. Hope you guys enjoy. But either way, zombies getting started here, winning the dice roll, leading with Unizombie and Zombie World, dumping that glow up bloom to the graveyard and using its effect to be able to special summon out that Doom King Ballardrock. So pretty much the standard setup you want to get with zombies is just being able to establish your zombie world, get the Ballardrock in graveyard, and maybe a zombie or a vampire sucker on top of it. So once the Ballardrock summons itself out, you get that draw, and you're able to proc any effects, because I believe the effect of Ballardrock says when any sort of when any zombie monster activates its effect, and of course Zombie World turning everything into a zombie, you get to negate an effect and also be able to non-target banish a card as well. And of course a sucker activating there once the Ballardrock is summoned to get a draw. And he'll flip up Rivalry of the Warlord. So this is the lock that zombies are capable of putting together. Is the Ballardrock Zombie World Rivalry combo. It is very, very difficult to out. There's Salamangreat player here getting started. Luckily, at least having a Phantasma to get some sort of body on field, and also playing that Pot of Desires to try and to dig into some outs to this. Of course, back row removal would be nice. Twin Twister would be optimal, but it does look like he has a Cosmic Cyclone in hand. I believe he's going to use that here. I mean, you have to use it here, or else you really can't do much of anything. So he's going to use it and get rid of the zombie world. So Rivalry still affecting him, though, at this point. The Phantasme, of course, is a dragon, leaving him only able to control dragons. So yeah, he's going to go into the battle phase and swing over the sucker for 800 points. End phase, thinking he has to discard because he might have too many cards in hand, but does not. Small little mistake there, no big deal. Passing it back over to the zombie player, drawing for turn here. Still has Ballardrock and Rivalry. Rivalry will definitely slow things down, but can only control all Cybers monsters, so not going to stop Salamangreat plays too much, essentially, but will definitely stop him now that he has a Phantasme on his field, which is rather unfortunate. One of those cards that comes in clutch a lot of times, but then sometimes can just also kind of be the death of you in a situation like this when a floodgate like Rivalry is flipped. Being almost better in this case than there can be only one, just slightly. But Unizombie activating, proccing the effect of Ballardrock to banish a card, non-targeting, of course, to be able to clear Phantasme, and it won't have any response to the matter. Then dumping, I believe, the Necro Banshee to the graveyard, which will be able to get Zombie World next turn. And swinging with the Unizombie and the Ballardrock will drop him down to 2,900. And then we're going to see him do the same exact thing. Link off into another sucker, which will, again, set up the draw during the standby phase once the Ballardrock summons itself out. Has set an additional back row. That'll do it for his turn. Not much, but it could be just enough, essentially. Banishing the Necro World Banshee to go ahead and retrieve the Zombie World from deck, and that is not going to be ashable because it's not adding from deck to hand. It is playing it from the deck to the field, so that ash not going to do too much in his hand other than just sit there and be kind of useless. And we're going to head into game 2, and of course, a reminder, if you guys haven't already checked out Imperium Duelist, link to their website down in the description below. If you guys are looking for high quality playmats, sleeves, dice, their brand new deck box just came out. Absolutely amazing deck box. My favorite deck box to use in this current point in time. Dice tray, etc., etc. Very, very nice deck box. If you want to pick up any of their products that I use in all my videos, check them out down in the description below, and you can use that discount code WinterKills10 off to save 10% off your entire order. So helps you guys save a little money, helps support the channel in the process. Getting back to the game here, getting started with Sign Up Mining and following up swiftly into that Pot of Desires. He's going to start with Foxy here. So a pretty strong opening on behalf of Salamangreat. He says, you know what? You had your chance game 1 to set up a pretty powerful board. Now I'm going to show you just what kind of boards that I can set up when I'm actually able to play and I'm not being shut down by Rivalry Zombie World. I mean, that's the one thing that makes zombies is a bit of a threat, is that Zombie World rivalry threat, especially when you add into, adding cards to the equation like Super Poly. It gets even more threatening because your entire field just becomes one giant Nether Soul Fusion monster, or whatever its name is. It's just completely vulnerable at this point. But going into the full combo here, Gazelle, Jack Jaguar, using the Mirage Stalio to great advantage here, and then playing his field spell. And then going to use the Jack Jaguar now to recycle the Balinks and then add back the Gazelle off the summon of the Jack Jaguar, and then link the Jack Jaguar immediately into another Balinks and then right up into another Sunlight Wolf, not using the effect of the field spell here, does not need to. Grabbing back that Will of the Salamangreat, that Monster Reborn, or Soul Charge in some cases, and setting one back row, and that might just be it for turn. It does also look like he has an Ash Blossom in hand, but we saw how not helpful that was in the previous game, but might have a chance to stop maybe a crucial terraforming or something like that here in this game. But can imagine at least one interruption in the form of that back row, whether it might be a Cosmic Cyclone or a Roar or a Rage, could prove to be very good. He's going to normal summon the Glow Up Bloom here, though, to start. Go right into Link Karibo. And then attempting to use the effect of Glow Up Bloom in the graveyard. And it will be met with Ash, so Ash coming in clutch here, but Call by the Grave says otherwise. And then adding the Vampire Fraulein, which I believe has battle phase protection for zombie monsters. And once it hits the board, you can basically make any zombie monster gain up to, I believe, 3,000 attack or defense based on however many multiples of 100 life points you are willing to pay. I actually had to play against this deck the other week with my Block Dragon deck, and he actually did end up using that Fraulein to kind of postpone the game a bit. But of course, Boral Sword is a card. But anyways, I digress. Getting back to the game. Passing it over to the Salamangreat player. Only having Link Karibo in one set back row here. Luckily, the Glow Up Bloom at least able to go through here thanks to the called by. But now, as the Salamangreat player, you have tons of options at your disposal, of course. Salamangreat turn 3 is absolutely galaxy brain sometimes. But nonetheless, getting started here with the Jack Jaguar, recycling, I believe, a Sunlight Wolf to the extra deck. Now has the opportunity to add back a fire monster from the graveyard. But there's so many things you can do here. Just looking at it as it stands, like, you have the opportunity to use Mirage Stalio, or not if you plan on going into use non-fire effect monsters, using their effects. It's going to detach the Spinny and summon out Falco, and that will proc the Gazelle. And again, another option you might have is also just linking off the Mirage Stalio and, like, the Sunlight Wolf per se, and, bouncing the Link Karibo back and shuffling back the set card. But then you're left with just a 2300 body, which doesn't do you a whole lot. And he'll use the Gazelle now to dump the Rage, and that'll be added back off of the Sunlight Wolf immediately. And then going now to link into the Phoenix using Jack Jaguar and the Gazelle. And of course, coming in clutch there with that co-linked arrows. So be able to draw a card, basically replacing whatever he discards here. He's okay with discarding the Will because he knows he has a Falco on field. So if he ends up linking that off, he'll be able to reset it back to the field and use it that same turn. Ends up clearing a Super Polymerization. I don't think our zombie player is maining any Violet Chimeras or Diplexer Chimeras in the extra deck. So completely dead right now. Of course, would have been turned on with the zombie world, but does not have it at this given point. Which is very unlucky. Going to recycle the Gazelle off of the Sunlight Wolf. And then normal summoning Flame Buffalo for turn, because he's yet to normal summon. Now, at this point, again, you have options for Heat Leo. Still want to try and clear that Link Karibo, though, because that will prevent some damage from going through. So Mirage Stalio, of course, is the card you want to link off, but exactly what do you want to link into is the question. So linking Flame Buffalo and the Sunlight Wolf into Heat Leo. Of course, this will proc the Buffalo now to be able to discard a Cyberse and draw 2. Essentially netting a +1 here. Still has that copy of Rage in hand and also has a Falco. So he's going to link off Falco and Phoenix and the Heat Leo here, which I actually don't think he ends up linking with the Phoenix. I think he replaces the Phoenix with the Mirage Stalio to be able to go into another Heat Leo using his, to be able to take advantage of his second effect. So he's going to bounce back the Link Rebo with the Mirage Stalio. So now if he wants to, he can use the other effect of Heat Leo to be able to manipulate attack and defense. So now resolving the Falco here to be able to set back a Salamangreat spell or trap. To be able to set the essential soul charge at this point. And with having that Link 3 on board, using its own name as material, could be able to potentially reborn 3, but there's a Nibiru the Primal Being. After all is said and done. Not going to be gaining too much attack. Literally no defense to be had here from the token. Beginning 23 and 19. So not that big of a token, but still nonetheless big enough to get over the Nibiru itself. The token will anyways. So has, some leverage here, at least getting Nibiru. But as we know, he still has Will in the graveyard, which will allow him to bring back the Sunlight Wolf. He has yet to use the field spell relink effect, which, as we know, he has a Rage in hand, and if he wants to get the double pop live, that's all he needs to do is relink into it. Now we'll have 2 pops, so setting a Rage alongside one other back row, has a Signet Mining in hand as well, for a very strong, what could be a very strong follow-up in the next turn. Passing it over to the zombie player. All you have is a Nibiru right now for leverage, and he has Rage at this point too, and it is live to be able to destroy 2. Also 2 other unknown back rows at this point. Pretty scary situation to be in. If you go into the battle phase, though, early here, you definitely bait out the Rage. Otherwise, he just loses it. Getting no value out of it. But instead of opting now to normal summon the Glow Up Bloom, because if this card does end up hitting the graveyard, he could get something out of it. So opting to normal summon here. Normal summoning into the zone that Sunlight Wolf points to. Opting not to use the effect of Sunlight Wolf there. But it doesn't matter. Regardless, the Rage will go through, and he's going to go ahead and scoop it up there anyways. And we're going to head into Game 3. Also, if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, don't forget to use my affiliate link down in the description below if you want to help support the channel just through shopping on TCG Player. And then the Instant Fusion, starting things off for the Millenniumized Restrict into Link Kuriboh, setting 1 monster, setting 1 back row, and then following it up with a Monster Reborn to bring back the Thousand Eyes Restrict. So at least getting some interaction here this turn. The Salamangreat player now analyzing the field, realizing that the Millenniumized Restrict could be a bit of an issue. Because I believe when a monster effect is activated, you can negate it and then take control of a monster your opponent controls. But there's an evenly matched, slapping that down in the field. He goes into the battle phase. Opponent's heart rate rises immediately, probably. And end battle phase, of course. Clutch evenly matched. Clearing 3 and the Infinite Impermanence. Also being able to deal with the Millenniumized Restrict, then following up with a Foxy. Very, very strong. And the Foxy missing, though, unfortunately. Revealing the Phantasme, the Ash, and the Signet Mining. I mean, Signet Mining might as well be called Salamangreat Mining at this point. But anyways, going into the Balinks now. Attempting to use the effect to search for the field spell. It's met with Ash. But you know what that means. If you put an Ash in the graveyard, you have fueled a Heat of the Fire Charmer ablaze. It's always going to be coming for that card. Free link material, essentially. But now using, I believe, Will here to special summon the Foxy. Almost forgot its name there for a second. So Foxy now on board. So potentially could link off into a Hita. And then perhaps use, well, he already exhausted the reveal 3 effect of Foxy. But if he had not, and perhaps foreseen an Ash, which I don't really know how you could in this case, and you'd have to be thinking a million steps ahead of your opponent. But if he hadn't used that effect, of course, he'd be able to bring back the Foxy and make Mirage Stallion and continue playing thanks to the Ash Blossom. But that's going to do it for his turn. Not even able to go into the battle phase and clear anything. And now normal summoning Glow Up Bloom for turn. And deciding on what to do next. Of course, Link Kuriboh has been exhausted, looking at Nightmare Phoenix perhaps in the extra deck. But debating if it's worth giving up the Millenniumize Restrict to do so. Which I don't believe he ends up doing. So he's just going to pass turn there after some deep thought. And Salamangreat now trying to figure out how to end this game here and now. Not much to work with. Going to go into the battle phase, though, here. Clear the Millenniumize first. And then bring back the Foxy now while controlling that face-up Will. And then using the Ash to be able to go into Mirage Stalio. Summoning out Gazelle. And then using Gazelle now to dump a Salamangreat card to the graveyard. It's going to be a copy of the Roar. One of the greatest counter traps to ever live. I mean, it's the generic negate a monster spell or trap effect, but infamous as is. Same thing with Rage. I don't know. What do you guys think is better, Rage or Roar? This is something I've always contemplated myself. Like anytime I mess around with Salamangreat, and Salamangreat is probably my favorite meta deck currently. I just like the play style of it. I feel like it's less underrepresented. Like, I feel like it's less represented, I should say, than most of the other meta decks. And it feels nice to be playing sort of the lesser represented one, I suppose, to be the, in quotes, odd man out. But the play style of Salamangreat I do kind of enjoy. And it's a very intricate and technical deck to play in a sense of trying to build boards under the restrictions that can be had. And trying to break boards as well. And, you know, the turn 1 is very easy, but the turn 3s and following that get increasingly more difficult with the amount of options that the deck has to work with. So, linking off the Mirage Stalio, bouncing back his Glow Up Bloom, I believe it was, to the hand, and then immediately taking the Ash back from the grave with a Hita again. He says, you know what, I'm not done with that Ash just yet. Gonna need it here just a little bit more. And again, you have options here. You always have options with this deck. So playing the field spell, and then relinking immediately into a Sunlight Wolf, and then using the effect of Roar in the graveyard to reset itself. And he's just going to go ahead and pass there, battle phase being exhausted. Zombie player top decking a Solitaire, but knowing that there's a set Roar, he's just going to go ahead and scoop it there. That was a pretty good top deck, but just not at the right time. So Salamangreat's taking this match 2-1. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave some comments down in the comment section below. Were you expecting Salamangreat to win? I don't know. Like that rivalry zombie world lock is pretty devastating as we saw game 1, but of course it's not the most consistent thing to set up, is because the one piece in that entire combo that is not searchable is arguably the best card to have for the combo, and that is Rivalry of the Warlords, which of course is not searchable. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, Winner Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.